Tom, thank you so much for joining us. Can you assess that issue particularly? How many Iranians are in the country that are in sleeper cells trying to do bad to America right now?
Well, look, you and I have talked about this many times. I said the last 4 years, my biggest concern was this open border was the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen. So I pulled numbers this morning just from a CBP under Joe Biden. There was 1,272 nationals of Iran released in the country between OFO and the Border Patrol. And you compare that to the Trump administration, zero. Right, zero releases. And right now, because of President Trump's leadership, we have the most secure border in my lifetime, most secure border in the history of this nation. So we have a secure border. That was President Trump's big win on securing this nation. So we're not releasing people in this country. Special interest aliens aren't crossing that border undetected. But under Joe Biden, we had over 10 million people cross that border. But my biggest concern from day one, beyond the fentanyl, beyond the sex trafficking women and children, were the 2 million known gotaways. Over 2 million people crossed that border. We don't know who they are, where they came from, because they got away, because Border Patrol is so overwhelmed with the humanitarian crisis that Biden created that over 2 million people crossed the border and got away. That is my biggest concern, and that's what created the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen.
And you have that on surveillance, seeing people get away. Do you have a sense of where they went?
No, the intelligence community under President Trump has been on this since day one. What gives me any comfort at all is that you don't have Christopher Wray there, you got Kash Patel there. You don't have Alejandro Mayorkas there anymore, you got Kristi Noem, and you certainly don't have Kamala Harris as a border czar. So President Trump brought a great team, been on this since day one. Do we know where every one of the 2 million are? No. We don't know who they all are. We don't know why they're here, where they came from. But we do know Border Patrol intelligence for the last 4 years, they found prayer mats south of the border. They found identification from people from Iran, Turkey, Uzbekistan, Syria, south of the border. So we know that some terrorists have crossed that border. We'd be a fool to think zero cross.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only James Williams, Dog Waters in the back. And let's get into the aftermath of the strikes by Donald Trump on Iran. I'm not going to be long. The reason why I didn't jump out with everybody else just to talk about the fact that he struck Iran is because, quite frankly, we need to see the lay of the land. And when we think about what the possibilities are, and I said this in one of my videos, I said, hey, one of the big things we're going to need to be looking out for is terror attacks inside of our nation, because Joe Biden allowed the borders to be wide open. We have talk of people impeaching him, which is totally insane, because the people who talk about impeaching him actually should be in prison for allowing the borders to remain open. That is the most absurd thing I've ever heard or seen, for you to sit there and say, oh, we need to impeach Donald Trump because he's dealing with a terroristic nation while you left the borders wide open. I don't get it, but
Customs and Border Protection sources tell.
Let's start with this. Nearly half of the Iranian nationals caught by the U.S. Border Patrol during the Biden administration were released in the U.S. CPBP source tells. I don't want to start with that one. Let's start with this guy right here. Let's see if you remember this dude. This is one of the most, back in the day, this was one of the most terrifying videos that came out when they were letting people into our nation. Like it was a damn free concert.
You are smart enough, you will know who I am. But you are really not smart enough to know who I am. But soon you're going to know who I am. Very easy.
Wow, very easy. The entitlement.
No, you are smart enough, you will know who I am. But you are really not smart enough to know who I am. But soon you're going to know who I am. Very easy.
Wow, very easy. The entitlement.
No, believe me, I'm much better than that.
The entitlement, guys. Wow.
You are smart enough, you will know.
See, now, in my opinion, when a man makes a threat like that, he should be immediately arrested. But this was under the Biden administration. And so under the Biden administration, they opened the borders and let terrorists into our nation. And this is what we're getting ready to contend with after this Iranian strike. And it was what dawned on me when Donald Trump gave his speech. Towards the end of Donald Trump's speech, he said he wanted to thank God. And if you really paid close attention, he got emotional, because I know he knows what's inside of our nation. He has to know what's inside of our nation. But Fox News does a great job of explaining it.
Customs and Border.
Stop it. They do a great job of explaining what we're dealing with. And so I'm just going to tell you guys, keep your head on a swivel because it's about to pop off out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? If you normally wouldn't carry a weapon with you, now's the time to carry a weapon with you everywhere you go. Grocery store, weapon. Church, weapon. Traffic, weapon. Carry, when people out EDC, it's EDC time in America.
Customs and Border Protection sources tell Fox News nearly half of the Iranian nationals who crossed the border illegally during the Biden administration were released into the U.S. Border Patrol arrested 1,504 Iranian nationals at our southern border from fiscal year 2021 through 2024. 729 of them were released into the U.S. Iranians are considered special interest aliens due to national security concerns and are...
Those are just the people who were arrested. It's not the ones who just came through and nobody caught them. Let's be clear. Those are the ones who were arrested and released.
Are supposed to receive enhanced vetting by DHS. Now officials are worried about an Iranian threat to the homeland. Today, Homeland Security sent out a bulletin warning of a heightened threat environment and low-level cyber attacks. It warns the likelihood of violent extremists here in the U.S. mobilizing would likely go up, quote, if Iranian leadership were to issue a religious ruling calling for retaliatory violence. It could increase the likelihood that a supporter of the Iranian regime is inspired to commit an act of violence in the homeland. Today, the Senate Intelligence Chairman expressed this concern.
For all we know, they may have gotten sleeper cells into the country during Joe Biden's wide open border. So the threats are serious.
The New York...
For all you know good and damn well they got sleeper cells in the United States of America. Hell, they had sleeper cells in the United States of America under Obama. Now, the crazy thing is, and I'm sorry to say this, the places where they're going to end up striking is going to be liberal places, but the target's going to be Christian targets, which is what we saw today. But let me let them finish talking.
Our police department says, quote, out of an abundance of caution, we're deploying additional resources to religious, cultural, and diplomatic sites across NYC and coordinating with our federal partners. Washington, D.C.'s Metropolitan Police Department says at this time there are no known threats to the district. However, MPD has maintained an increased presence at religious institutions across the city. But former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says law enforcement has its hands full.
Of course they have their hands full. And then right on schedule,
Customs and Border Protection sources tell Fox
this attack inside of a church, which I don't think we have all the footage, but a guy rams a vehicle into a church and it gets popped up. By the way, this is in Wayne, Michigan, near Dearborn, Michigan, where basically all the damn Muslims are.
Oh.
Get out.
Come on. Everybody to the back. Please, everybody come to the back. Come to the back. John, they gotta come. They gotta come. Come on.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Go. Out, I don't think is a good idea. Come on here.
This is why, as Christians, the lessons about to be learned that, this give the other cheek. Somebody slaps you, turn the other cheek. That was for your brothers and sisters in the faith. That wasn't for these people. And we're about to learn this lesson. If you don't understand that, when the scripture where it talks about, and I believe it's Jesus that said it, if someone slaps you, give them your other cheek. He was talking about brothers and sisters in the faith. He ain't talking about these terrorists. So we get into a point where we're going to have to be prepared to defend ourselves. And quite frankly, it's all these same people's fault. So we get Jasmine Crockett come out, right? And start talking crazy about Trump and Iran.
I go back in on Monday. You could have hollered at us on Monday. If you truly felt like there was something, like, there is nothing that they will say that will make me believe that this action needed to take place. and it needed to take place without the consultation of the Congress. All right, give me one more.
How can the Senate be involved and make them accountable for what they're doing?
I mean, listen, y'all are talking about accountability. The systems have broken down. The systems have broken down because people have legitimately decided that they would rather serve him than serve the people that put him into office. Like, I don't really...
This trick infuriates me, man. It infuriates me that this caterpillar eyelash wearing, weave wearing, cleavage hanging out heifer has the nerve to even open her mouth about international issues. This ignorant trick could not handle a crisis of any proportion. Of any proportion. Just couldn't do it. She wouldn't have the ability. She doesn't have the intellectual wherewithal to deal with anything. You can't even articulate a sentence without pretending to be ghetto.
Have any, like...
She's not even certain in who she is.
Good answers for you, except for the fact that legitimately everything that he does is like against the law. Like, he just breaks the law. And
you see what I'm saying? And this is the craziest thing. If everything Donald Trump did was against the law, then everything that they're trying to do would stick. You got a person who's telling you everything that the president does is against the law. They've thrown every kind of legal challenge at him, and none of the legal challenges have stuck. It's all been litigated in the courts, and it's clear ain't nothing he's doing against the law. And then we start talking about Obama and what Obama did and the strikes Obama did. But Obama didn't go through Congress to decide who he was going to strike. Not once. Congress didn't decide that they was going to overthrow Gaddafi and send the whole entire ISIS loose and then have Christians persecuted. No, Obama and Hillary Clinton decided they were going to do that, and they did it.
And I know that there are some people that think that I just say this stuff because I'm a Democrat, and I can tell you, I have.
You say stuff because you stupid. I'm sorry, guys, we're not listening to this stupid trick anymore. I just can't listen to her anymore. She says stuff because she's stupid. Meanwhile, we got liberals acting like this.
And somebody in the White House needs to take Trump and sit his ass the fuck down. Life already hard, then we gotta worry about this bullshit. Ever since you stepped foot in the motherfucking White House, you ain't did nothing but cause motherfucking chaos.
So says, man.
I'm not getting out there and fighting no motherfucking body.
You couldn't get out there and fight nobody if you couldn't fight a pillow. Your punk ass can't fight sleep.
I'm on Iran's side. I'm on their motherfucking side.
Yep, come pick him up right now. Boy, you lucky I ain't president, because I'll be scanning social media. People, oh, you on Iran's side? I have Secret Service at your door. Sir, you said you were on Iran's side. We came to pick you up. Oh, I was just, and I will record him. Oh, I was just so angry. I was angry at what I said. I didn't mean any of it. I didn't mean it. Oh, yeah, I would get him.
Fuck the U.S. I don't give a damn.
He would go, I would ship his punk behind to Iran immediately. Immediately. I mean, absolutely immediately. This is Michigan, where the terrorist attacks happen.
حضرت كل فئة شعب وامرأة درة ولؤلؤة اي درة ولؤلؤة أعظم تجارة بيوم الزيارة الله لحفة غير صيحة الله واكل تعطر موكبه من طبل ضيف وعذبه شمحلاها.
And I want to say this to you. When the first truck bomb hits, the rise up that you're going to see from American men is going to be unlike anything you've ever seen. I'm telling you. The full-on savagery. And it's going to be black American men, white American men, Latino American men. the full-on savagery that you gonna see, like this marching down the street, people are gonna go meet them. There's gonna be thousands of people to go meet them when they're marching down the streets with all this foolishness, and it's gonna be bad. This is why you can't let these people into your nation. You know, the Democrat Party wants a civil war, and they couldn't get the civil war between blacks and whites, and so the only thing they have left is what I showed you in my live stream, which was Islam, wokeism, and LGBTQ. Craziest thing is, these same people that are marching around in Michigan, if they had a pride parade, they would whoop the piss out of the people with them the same flagpoles that was doing the pride parade march. I mean, they would whoop them. They would beat them. I mean, they would literally beat them. That's what worries me about where we're headed right now. We're headed into a place where, guys, it's if we don't get a handle on it, it's going to be bad. Watch this. Breitbart. Breaking. Judge rules that MS-13 gang member Kilmar Brega Garcia should not be detained on his criminal charge of child trafficking. DOJ appeals. This was what I said was a danger of bringing him back. They wanted to bring him back so they could release him. If they can release him, they can bring him out and parade him as if he's some kind of savior to illegal aliens. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to get all three movements to have a crescendo before the end of this month. So a release of Kilmar Brega Garcia would be the illegal alien crew being energized. These bombs that happened in Iran is a way of energizing the Muslim people. And then we had another person that was released, which was this guy who was on a college campus, who's the quintessential essence of wokeism. He was just released from jail, and he's back out marching and protesting again. And so it's the perfect crescendo for the month of Pride. It truly is the perfect crescendo for the month of Pride. And we're heading towards the end of Pride month, and I anticipate it's going to go out with a bang. For those of you who watched the live stream earlier, this was the collaboration that I was telling you about. Wokeism, LGBTQ, and Islam. And we're looking at this three-headed monster lining up to try and strike again. Will it be victorious? I seriously doubt it. But I'll tell you this, keep your damn head on a swivel. Don't be no victim. Yeah, don't be no victim. No, ain't no victims out here. Don't be no victim. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out of here. I'll see y'all in a little while.